Hi everybody, welcome to another Flea Market Finds segment. I'm pretty sure that all of the items I'm going to show you here in this episode I haven't shown you yet. Sometimes I get a little backed up with things and I forget what I've actually shown, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be all new stuff. These aren't necessarily going to be in the order that I acquired them, but I just figured we'll just get them out of the way. This is a bag of stuff I haven't put away yet just because I wanted to show it. This is from the used tool store in the city that I occasionally go to, and he's got a big table with raised sides on it, like this piece of wood here all around it, in the center of the of his store there, and he just dumps all kinds of stuff on there. And what he does is he calls that the bargain table, and basically everything on the table is, you know, 2 for whatever. It's usually a 2 for thing. So depending on what he's got on that table at any given time, he changes the price. So there are days where you walk in there and everything on the table is 2 for $5. And you walk in there on other days and it'll be 2 for 50 cents or 2 for $1. And sometimes, you know, it gets down to just a bunch of hardware and junk on the table and it's 2 for $1. So there's always a group of guys standing around just kind of poking through. And you know, the day I was there was a guy. He was picking out large socket head cap screws, you know, nice ones. And he was getting those 2 for $1. You can't buy those for 12.5 cents a piece anywhere. So it made sense. So as I was weeding through, I got to talking to the guy, and I'd occasionally come across one and hand it to him. But anyways, so I got 4 items off the 2 for $1 table, so I spent a whole 50 cents on these items here. Don't know why it was there, but for some reason this Craftsman wrench was there. Usually he's pretty good about spotting all the Craftsman wrenches and throwing them in a different bucket and getting $2 or $3 a piece for them, I think. Open end. Notice this one is 19/32 by 11/16, so not a bad in-between range to throw in the toolbox. This long stud looks to me like it's a hold-down stud, so I can put that over with my other hold-down clamps and everything like that. So 12.5 cents for that, 12.5 cents for a Craftsman wrench. Little screwdriver, the tip looked good on it, and the reason why I snagged it is because it's an Exolite. I think I've talked about Exolite in the past. Exolite is the Exolite was or still is maybe the considered the high-end brand of tool for electronic technicians everywhere. I had the majority of my hand tools were Exolite tools when I was in the television repair business years ago. Yes, they used to repair TVs. And the last item for 12.5 cents is this little slot cutter. And this is it just says B15 or R15 on it. I haven't cleaned it up yet. But no broken teeth on it. So figured, yeah, what the heck, throw it with the other ones for 12.5 cents. Take a chance on that. Then the other thing I spotted when I was going around his workshop, this wasn't on the cheap table, but I saw this big tube, and I've probably seen this before and opened it up just to see what it was. And what this is a tapered reamer, like a bridge reamer. And this is a UTD, which is United Twist Drill, so good company. Athol, Massachusetts. This is a 13/16 tapered reamer. So when I first saw this, I was hoping it was a Morse taper. But anyways, so it says right on here it's a 13/16. So I'm not sure where, but somewhere on here the diameter must get to 13/16, and I'm not quite sure why this would be tapered to get there. I don't know. But anyways, it's brand new. no signs that this has ever been used. And I may never need it. And maybe this would be better to eBay this or something. But I snagged this because it was in a box with everything marked at $2. So I thought for $2 it was worth it. Who knows? Well, somebody knows. Then I paid for this stuff. You know, my grand total came to what did this come to? $2.66 because of the tax. And as I was leaving, I happened to spot in the glass case where he keeps a lot of the more expensive machinist tools that he sells from time to time, the Machinery's Handbook. And I had been wanting to get my hands on one of these, and it's in really good shape. And these trade on eBay for anywhere from probably, I've seen them go as low as $15 depending on the condition in the edition. This is the 19th edition. And I've seen them go as high as 30 or 35 if they're in like mint condition. But so this one here, he wanted $20 for it. I offered him 15. We split the difference. I bought this for $17.50 plus tax. So I'm happy with this purchase. And this is interesting. I thought this right here on the end here and on here. This is the gentleman who owned this must have had an ink stamp made with his name on it. And what he did was he stamped this on all three sides. So if any point, I guess if he was in the shop and somebody needed to borrow his Machinery's Handbook, he knew he was going to be able to get it back and spot it. Oh, that's mine. Oh, no, I don't think so. So I'm glad I finally got a Machinery's Handbook. I might finally get down to actually making something with some of these broken machines. Okay, so next up, I went to a on-site auction in the city, and there was this was a company that had a ton of welding equipment, and they had a ton of what else did they have there? They had a ton of welding equipment. They had a ton of dies and punch presses and things like that. They had only one lathe, and it was a monster. They had piled everything, every drill, I think, in that place, and cutter and everything else they had piled over on a set of workbenches, and they just sold that all in one lot. I was willing to go to $500 on that lot. That's how much stuff was there. Even a cheapskate like me couldn't pass on it at $5. That was before the bidding started. Then when the bidding started, I think I ended up going to $6 before I dropped out. And you know, that's the psychology of the auction. Suddenly you find yourself willing to spend a little more than you thought you would. The winning bidder got it for $8, plus a 20% buyer's premium. So that's another $100. So he paid $960 for that lot. He was pretty happy. There was a lot of stuff in boxes underneath that I didn't even dig through, because the whole idea was I didn't want to pull stuff out and draw attention to all the stuff that was in there. One of the things I spotted was a Greenfield tap and die tap wrench, really big one. Might have even been bigger than the largest one I've got. But I mean, yeah, that's great. Shows that's a $45 or $50 item on eBay. That's a far cry from the rest. But there was a ton of drill bits. There was a file cabinet, and one of the drawers on the file cabinet, I opened it up, and it was just filled with end mills. But a lot of them were high-speed steel or coated high-speed steel, but not a lot of carbide was in there. So, and they were just kind of the way they were dumped in there and everything. You know, who's to say that was going to be any good? Anyways, I passed on that. I bought 3 lots at that auction. Cheap stuff. The first lot that I bought, I was the one and only bid at $10 on this. And I have no idea whether or not I'm going to even find anybody who's going to want this. This is a floating tap head. It's got, you know, it's been obviously laying around for a while. It's got some surface rust on it. I'm not sure what the Morse taper size is on it, but it's got a taper adapter sleeve, so it looks like they were using it in that huge lathe at some point. So I've got a big Morse taper adapter sleeve. I'll probably keep that. And then I've got the head itself, probably going to sell this. But this is I had already looked this up, so this is an SPV, it says, model SA2E, floating tap head. Now, the thing is that this is I believe the deal is on this that, no, I thought maybe it was quick change or something, but no, I see that it's got the big square hole in the bottom there, so I guess you could just slap a tap right in there. But anyways, these tapping heads are usually pretty expensive. This one's, you know, got some miles on it and not in the greatest of shape, but I thought for $10 plus I paid, you know, the buyer's premium, so I got this for $12. I think I can turn around and sell this on eBay and still make a little money. I don't know. Maybe I was the only one silly enough to pay the $10. Well, I obviously was. Lot number 2 that I bought there was 3 items. There's this cheapo made in China magnetic base, which I actually have already used on the Vernon, so I think that video should end up going up before this one, so you're probably going to see this before you even know that I bought it. Anyways, this was, you know, small potatoes. It's a cheap magnetic base, but I'll tell you what, the magnetic base I currently have was the only magnetic bases I had before I bought that were this piece of crap, which the knob is missing, so you can't even turn it on or off, so it's just basically always a big magnet, and it's all rusted, and somebody broke it and they welded onto it, and I don't know, it's a mess. And then this little weird funky one here that was with, I forgot what this came with, and it had this broken indicator on it, and I haven't even bothered cleaning that up yet. But, so this is now this cheap Chinese thing here is now my Cadillac holder. Alright, so the 3 items. So item number 3, I took a look at it and I thought, God, A, I don't really want it. I don't think I'm going to need it. B, I think it might drive up the price on the whole lot to a point where I don't want to even buy it. So what ended up happening was what I really wanted out of this lot was this right here. This old Starrett case, which is really dirty and looks nasty, but it's a nice looking Starrett case. And what's in here is a Starrett bevel gauge, and it looks complete. We've got this has got the model number right on it, I think. This is a number 0559. Okay, so you got this part, a long blade, a short blade, and this little part right here that you can clamp onto one of the blades at a right angle, making it like a little square. So I thought this was a hell of a nice find there at the auction, and I've seen these go for pretty good money on eBay. I've got one now that's in the like leatherette type case, I think, and it's not, I don't think it's complete. I think it's got some surface rust on it and some other issues. So I thought, well, I wouldn't mind having a nicer one, and I had a sneaking suspicion that this case was going to clean up really nice. These are clean underwear. My kids outgrow them, and my wife washes them, and I use them as rags. Waste not, want not. This ain't some kind of weird thing where I've lure little kids down here and stole their underwear. Number on here, IG25, somebody wrote on the box with a marker. I wonder if that's a location number for a tool crib. Some Murphy's oil soap would probably be perfect on this. I don't want to scrub too hard in the area where the historic name is. I mean, not to wax nostalgic too much about a silly case, but that's a beautiful case. I mean, the grain in there. You know, I really noticed it on the front and the sides there. I'll clean this up better on another day, but you can already see. Let me see if I can get this under better lighting. Okay, so as I was saying, I paid more than I wanted to for this. And magnetic indicator, I didn't even really consider that. But the reason why is because of item number 3. So what's in here is a very large, it's a very old box, and it's definitely the original box. This is a very large Starrett vernier caliper. So this is a precision tool, so really should needs to be cleaned up for sure. This thing's heavy. It was calibrated. There's a calibration sticker on it. In 2004, looks like the last time it was calibrated. And I forgot what the model this is. I think they called it at the auction, I think they called it a 50-inch. And I think I ended up finding online that this is a 48. This is a number 123 Starrett. So I don't think I'm gonna need any. I don't think I'm gonna need to measure anything that large to that much precision. So I'm probably gonna end up reselling this. There were also 2 standards. They got surface rust on them, but there were 2 standards inside the box. The box itself is really dirty, and I get the feeling this was in a tool crib on a bottom shelf underneath or under a workbench and just did not get used much. And on the end of the box here, unfortunately, this is I forget what you call this, finger joint, and the glue must have failed from age, and this wood piece on the end here fell off at some point and it went missing. And the good news is that the fingers are still there, so somebody with really good woodworking skills could replace that. But anyways, I had no idea what this was worth. And then when I got home and I looked it up, I was absolutely shocked at what these go for. Now this one is used, it's a little beat up, and it needs to be recalibrated, obviously, if anybody's going to use it for any serious degree of accuracy. Anywho, so I don't really know what this is going to, be worth. But new, these are thousands of dollars. I was really surprised. So that's going to be a surprise. I don't know if I want to keep this or if I want to sell it. I just don't know. You may have noticed that I didn't tell you what I paid for that lot. I think I'm going to keep that one under my hat just for now, in case I end up wanting to sell that. And people are going to probably pay for that based on what it's worth or what they're willing to pay for it, based on what they think it's worth, not so much what I paid for it. So I guess that's alright, I'll tell you the secret. Paid $85 for that lot, plus the buyer's premium and the tax. So I valued this, to me personally, I valued this at about 45 bucks. And the magnetic base for 5, so call it 50. So basically, in my mind, I got that caliper for 35 bucks. And then of course there's the 20% buyer's premium on top of that. But that's how that all shook out. Next, went to the flea market. And my regular tool guy wasn't there. He's doing another flea market. But his space is still there. And his wife was there. I picked through his stuff. And I found this big chuck key. He had it marked for $1. I have no idea what that's going to fit. Well, just the heck of it. Here's the Jacobs. That's actually a pretty good fit for that Jacobs right there. Not bad at all. Anywho, took a chance on that. But then I put together, I found this dial indicator, which has been abused. The dial indicator actually works perfectly fine. The bad part is this rod is got quite a bit of surface rust built up on it. I was actually surprised this indicator still works as smooth as it does. And this is this one is not marked with a maker's name. It's just marked Made in United States of America. And it's graduated in half thousandths. So, in other words, there's a little division line at the half thousand mark. So, you can measure 2.5 thousandths or blah, blah, blah. So, anyways, then I found this bearing. And this is the kind of thing that it's a new old stock John Deere genuine bearing. Have no idea what this fits, but it's got the part number right on it. So this is a good eBay item. So I got this these 3 pieces for $8. I think she asked 10, I said 8. So that basically was only $1 anyways. So really it was getting these 2 for $9. I figure any indicator that's still working and made in the USA is worth $5, right? So I got this bearing for $3. I think I could turn right around and probably pop this on eBay for $10. Judging from the size of it, I'd say it's from an agricultural piece of equipment. And then at that same day at the flea market, from another vendor, he had a couple of old pencil sharpeners. I forgot what the other one was, but this is the good old Boston. This is the one that a lot of us know from our days in school. And as a matter of fact, my son goes to a school and they still have these. These are that good, these pencil sharpeners. These old Boston pencil sharpeners. So I wanted one here for the workshop, and this is what I ended up getting for $5. Oh, I totally messed up. I said there were 3 lots I bought at that auction that day. I totally forgot to show you lot number 3. And of course, there's a story to go with it. So one of the lots at the auction was a file cabinet, metal file cabinet, 4-drawer, not a really good one. And there was a little bit of stuff piled up on top of it, and it had a lot number on it. And in the catalog, it was described as file cabinet with lockers, and I forgot something else. Well, the problem with the file cabinet was sitting out there on the floor tagged. There were no lockers to be seen. Well, it turns out during the setup for the auction, they had made a mistake, and they had actually thought they were going to sell all of the wall lockers in the employees' locker room. And the guy who owns the building said, no, we wanted those to stay. So they ended up pulling that from the auction. So that actually ended up coming off that lot. So all that was in the lot was the file cabinet and the stuff that was on it. Well, I went over and looked at it just because I wanted to be thorough, and because I spotted this Starrett box on top of the file cabinet. And I was like, oh. So I looked at it, picked it up, It's a number S190 jack screw complete. Well, that's what the box says, but how complete is it? Well, I don't know what's supposed to come in the set, but there's the jack screw. Here's a taller collar, and here's a shorter collar, and here's an even shorter collar with a well, here's a little short collar with a little cutout in it. I guess that would be so you could sit that on top of maybe a round piece. Anywho, even the little Tommy bar is in here to turn the darn thing. So what's in here is the jack screw, 3 collars, and the Tommy bar. I wanted this. I didn't care about the other stuff. I opened the first couple drawers on the file cabinet and they were empty or just had like a few papers in there and just some junk, and there was trash in there. It looked like, literally it looked like they had been using the thing as a wastebasket. So what happened was, when it came time for the auction and they got to this lot, everybody was already moving down the road to look at the other stuff. So they sit there, this thing, and I'm thinking, that jack screw's there. And I had already talked to the guy, because when I was contemplating bidding on that lot that had a ton of stuff in it, there was a huge heavy metal table there with a tripod welded. No, it was a huge plate of steel with a tripod welded to it with a vise on top of it. You could unbolt the vise and take the vise if you ended up buying that lot. But that table, that piece, that stand was ridiculous. So I talked to the auctioneer before the auction. I said, "You get a scrap metal guy coming through here that's going to take anything that's left?" He says, "Well, not really, but why do you ask?" And I explained the situation. He says, "Yeah, sure. Anything heavy metal like that you want to leave, you don't want to take with you, that's perfectly fine." That's all I had to hear. So I was already thinking, I don't want the file cabinet. I bet you I could just take the contents out and leave the cabinet, which is what I ended up doing. One and only opening bid, $5. $5 for a Starrett. I don't care if it's complete or not. For $5, that's a steal any day of the week. Then I went over to, after the auction, snagged my prize, and I went to clean out the drawers to see if there was anything I could use. And I opened up the lower drawers, which I hadn't bothered to even look in. Alright, so this box and this bag basically is the contents of everything out of all the drawers that I thought was worth doing anything with. There was just a few lots around that one. I forget if it was before or after. They sold a large Hypertherm plasma cutter. Well, guess what one of the drawers was loaded with? Genuine Hypertherm consumables for the plasma cutter. The PowerMax 1650 electrode is what this is. It was a 100 amp plasma cutter. I thought my 60 amp kicked some butt. You can imagine what that thing did. I don't remember what that sold for, but I think whoever bought that probably got a really good deal on it. But anyways, I'll pause the camera while I do a quick inventory of these Hypertherm consumables. So let's see what we got here. Alright, these are part number 120977. Shield gouging, it says. So that's, looks like maybe that's, got some loose ones here too that must have fallen out of packages, and then some of them actually look like they're used. Well, maybe they're still good. Maybe that's why they kept them. I don't know. Anyways, that's got only 2 of those. These are 220011 5-pack of nozzles, PowerMax 1650 nozzles. But there's only 2 in that, 1 in that, 2 in that, and 4 in that. So I can open some of these packages and consolidate so that I can have some full packages. And actually that right there, what was it? Did I say it was the 6.3s? No, those are the 2211s. Here's a bag that has 2 new ones in it that are marked 2263s. Okay, that's these nozzles over here. Look at those. So there's the 2263 nozzles. These come 5 to a pack. That's a full pack. That's only got one. That's only missing one, so I'm going to put those together. And that's got 2. And then these 2 in the bag here. Maybe the 2 loose ones in the bag aren't genuine Hypertherm, I don't know. 220037s, electrodes. It's supposed to be a 5-pack. There's 1 in there, 1 in there, 4 in there, 1 in there, 1 in there, and 1 in there. But I got like 4 loose ones here that look unused. I have to consolidate that. Then there's these 3 electrodes here. They're discolored from heat, so these were used. These caps, nozzles or whatever. That's new, and that's a used version of the same thing. Used. What I'll do is probably when I'm selling these, I'll just throw these in, and if somebody wants to try them, throw them in no charge. Oh, here's another one of these in this bag. It's not marked. I'll just keep those 2 together. Oh, that looks like that's this shield right here. Yep. These are 220065 shields. I got 2 of those brand new in the package, and then 2 loose in the bag here, same type. And then I've got 220048 shield caps brand new in the package. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, I can't tell if it's used. And somebody just put it back in the pack. Yeah, this is a used one somebody put back in the package. I have to make sure I don't accidentally sell that as new. Matter of fact, I just since I don't have a new one to go in there, I'll just get rid of that. And then these are 220051 Hypertherm. I don't know what these are because I can't see the name on them. I'm wondering if this is like a little diffuser screen or something. It's got a, it's non-metallic, and it's. Let's see if I can get one of these open. There we go. That's what that is. Looks like some kind of a diffuser cone. That certainly looks new. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. So I got all that Hypertherm stuff for plus all this other stuff for $5. Let me show you the other little goodies. Alright, let's look at what was left in the file cabinet that I took. Some discs of sanding paper, a little flap wheel, kind of worn. Any screws or hardware. These are nice. These are the self-locking nuts on them. This looks like a, well, interestingly enough, at first I thought this was a slag hammer, but now I've noticed that it's got a letter P. This is, somebody took a P from a punch set and welded it onto a handle like from a slag hammer. So I think it's just coincidental that it happens to have a P on the end. I think they actually were using this as a slag hammer. Either that, or for some reason they wanted to bang a P into something that was very hot. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. There's a whole bunch of these little twist lock discs. I don't know if I have it on my little die grinder set, the cheaper one I have. It came with some like this that had plastic on the back. I don't know if these will work on there, but they're all brand new. There's probably at least a dozen of them in here. Blue Loctite, still got some in it. More screws and nuts. Allen screw. Punch that's a little short sucker. And this used to be a scriber, I think, but it's somebody did something really horrible. And looks like they drew an arc or something with, I don't know what they were doing with that. That's scrap. And then this little box of stuff. This is a tube of protective ointment, 2-in-1 protective ointment, Aloe Vesta, skin protectant. This is a 3M ad flow. It's got a little ball in it. It's a flow meter, so not sure exactly if I can use that on anything. I'm not sure how it's supposed to adapt, if it had a special housing that it was supposed to click into or what. Different. But that's a ad flow meter by 3M. And it's got a little line right there, and I guess that's when the ball is floating up to that particular point, that's when you've got the proper flow for whatever this belonged to. I don't know. I can Google that easy enough. A pair of very cool 70s vintage glasses, sunglasses. Oh, they're broken. What a shame. I was going to wear those today. Drugs. What we got here? What was somebody taking? Loperamide hydrochloride, anti-diarrheal. Oh, that's nice. Somebody had, oh man, cocaine. What that is? Tap. Tapered pipe tap by the looks of it. Good shape. Well, somebody was wearing hearing protection. More diarrhea meds. Air fitting. Wow, that's quite the socket. It's 3/8 drive, but I don't know how many point that socket is, and very thin wall. That must have had a very special purpose. It's all beat to heck, so I can't see. There's a part number on there. It's not unusual. I don't know what that socket was for. Antacid tablets. Shave. 2 little flat discs. Tweezers. Good for pulling out metal slivers. 2, 3 pairs of those. Another screw. Magnifying glass so you can see the sliver. And this is kind of neat. This is a magnifying glass. This is called the Mr. Magnify magnifying glass. And it is attached to this pair of tweezers. So this is so you can have your tweezers and magnify what you're going after all in one shot. That's kind of neat. Oh yeah, that's going to be handy. Nothing worse than getting a metal sliver you can't get out. And we're going to call that a wrap, because I hear everybody coming down for breakfast.